Hello guys, so today is day one of posting tricks and hacks on shoemaking. So on today's trick and hack, we'll be posting the proper way to cut on our leader, be it we're cutting our pattern or we're cutting our leader or whatever we're cutting. So I'm just going to show us how to cut properly. So today we have this pattern, right? We have this pattern and we'll be drawing this pattern on two places. Now these two places will be cut differently so we can see the difference. So this is one and these two. So and this is two. So I'm just going to label this one and label this two. Right, so this is original. We can label this R. Okay, so we have 1, 2, and we have the original one here. Now when cutting or when marking on your pattern, either you're marking on your leader or you're transferring a pattern, an already made pattern, to, let's say you're making a new pattern, and either you're using a pencil, a lead pen, or a regular pen. Now there's something you have to take note, because each of these writing materials has a ball at the tip, just like this has a ball at the tip. Same with this and this, just like unlike this one I think this one has a more smaller ball. This pen has a more smaller ball than this one, but it still has a ball on it, right? Now this ball has a circumference which with proper measurements it should be, I don't know, I say maybe 0.01, right? So that's the circumference of this ball. Let's say the ball is drawn like this, and the circumference of the ball is 0.01, right? Now this circumference has a beginning and also an end. If you're going this way, it has a beginning and has an end. It also has a beginning on this side and also have an end on this side. So no matter how small it is, even if it's just a full stop, right, it has a beginning and an end. The same thing with the ball on the pen, either a pen or a pencil. It has the beginning and the end. Now this beginning is what we have here. So on this pen, let me just use something smaller. Let me get a needle. So on this pen, we have the end here and we have the beginning inside. Let me bring it closer so we can see. So we have the beginning here, right? And we have the end inside. Now when we're cutting, whenever you're cutting either on your leader or making a new pattern, so you want to cut not, you don't want to do this when cutting. Sorry, let me call this faster so we can see. So you don't want to do this when cutting. Now this is called cutting outside the line, or cutting from the beginning of the line. So now this is called cutting outside the line, and when you cut this way, there's an implication. So let me just cut this completely so I can show us the implication practically. Okay, so we cut this, just cutting outside the line. Some people say there's also cutting on top of the line. I won't completely say that was wrong, but then I will completely accept it, because on top of the line I think there's still some certain millimeters, maybe non-noticeable millimeters, that will be added, which maybe they don't see as to be a problem, but then it's a problem. So when we have a cutting like this, right, so this is called cutting outside the line or beginning of the line, right? So we have this separate. Now let's cut this one at the ending of the line or inside the line, so we can see the difference. Now cutting inside the line is just like taking the line off. Now the line will not be visible when the pattern is drawn out. So we have something like this. mind you, I'm not cutting any special cutting. I'm literally cutting just where the line ended. As you can see, I'm cutting just where the line ended. So right, so we have 2, we have 1, and we have the original. Now if you notice the difference between the 1 and the 2, so on the 1 we can see the pen marking is very visible, right? The pen marking is very visible, while on the 2 the pen markings are not visible. Now we're going to check which is correct. Now when we place our original on pattern number 1, we can see that the pen marking are very visible. That means a certain millimeters were added to the new pattern. So let me just place this from edge, since the straight line. So I place this from edge, right? You can see edge to edge. So I place this from edge, and you see like this was added. This was the like an accumulation of this side and this side. So this was added. That means our cutting for pattern number 1 is completely wrong. Why? Because they were added. It's not a replica of this, right? They were added measurements on it, so it's not a replica of this. But let's check pattern number 2. So on pattern number 2, this is what we can see, right? So you can see that on pattern number 2, it's aligned on both sides. It's aligned on both sides, unlike this where the pen is very visible. On pattern number 2, the pen is not visible and the pattern aligned at both sides. So we can see that this is more replica of the original than pattern number 1, because even if we join them head to head, you can see that like they are more identical compared to joining original and pattern number 1, right? You can see. Now let's even join pattern number 2 and pattern number 1 and see. So joining pattern number 2 and pattern number 1, you can see that they are not identical. Sorry about my nails, I think I have to get that fixed. So we can see that both of them are not identical. So with this, we can now understand that it's more advisable to cut inside of our line than cutting outside of our line. I don't know much about cutting on top of the line. I would have made a video for it, but I guess this would help. So this is more better than cutting outside of the line. So guys, thank you, and let's stay tuned for the next trick and hack. See you guys on the next video.